Hi, this is Dr. Daniels, and welcome to Home Healers. This is November 10th, 2020. And today we're going to talk about raw milk fast. Yes, I did it, and I'm here to report. I would just say, if we're going to just summarize it, it was an amazing experience. I would do it again. It's not exactly for everyone. It's certainly not a starting point. So I'm first going to talk about what a milk fast is and how and why it heals. So as many of you know, I live in the wilderness. And so in the wilderness, one finds many things, namely cows and raw milk. And so I started looking into this, especially with the controversy in the United States around should raw milk be sold. And raw milk, for those of you who need to more precisely understand what we're talking about, is milk that has not been heated, which is pasteurization, and has not been homogenized, where the fat and the water had been mixed where they cannot separate. So it has not been homogenized and has not been pasteurized, and it is straight from the cow. Wait, before I go any further, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. So please, if you can hear me, just type yes in the questions box. I'm now looking at the question box so I can see. All right, great. Okay, good. My sound is good. Excellent. Thank you. Also, you should be seeing my picture on the screen. Okay. So why would a person, so this whole, so when we talk about raw milk, we, the public, are led to believe that raw milk is just what I said, not pasteurized, not homogenized. There, you have to go one more step before you get to something called healing milk, healing raw milk. So raw milk was used for healing by the Mayo Clinic at the turn of the century. And they healed cancer and pretty much every affliction under the sun by simply having the person lay in bed and feeding them raw milk. And obviously this practice fell out of use. The reason it fell out of use, of course, is because, well, the standard of care changed. So the question is, what is this milk that was used so effectively for healing at the turn of the century, and why did it work? First of all, the milk was not just any milk. It was the milk from a Jersey or Guernsey cow. Why Jersey or Guernsey? And the reason for that is Jersey or Guernsey cows have a higher percent of milk fat, 5% or more. The milk that you get in the store, which is like any old cow, is somewhere around 3%, maybe 3.5%. And this has some pretty startling implications. Now, the fat is the point, or in many cases, actually, it's not the point. So let's put it this way. The fat is the part that heals, and the sugar is the part that harms. So this is very, very interesting. Now, the other thing to realize is that there's saturated fat and there's unsaturated fat. So let's just dig in here. So first, what I did in order to investigate the whole thing, because the whole thing is, the things weren't really adding up. Why was raw milk banned? So of course, the only reason to ban anything in the United States is it must be healthy. Okay, check that box. But I knew people who were eating raw milk and they were not healthy. So where's that disconnect? The disconnect is the Jersey or Guernsey cow. So most people who are eating raw milk in the United States are not eating raw milk from a Jersey or Guernsey cow. Okay, so how does their milk differ? Well, here it is. The percent milk fat in a Jersey cow is 5.18%. The percent milk fat in a regular mongrel cow is 3.5%. What that means is the Jersey cow has got 20% more calories than the whole milk you get in the store. It also has 20% more fat. Now, for the sake of convenience in medicine, we have two types of fats, unsaturated and saturated. So the saturated fat in the cow's milk is 62%, and the unsaturated is 38%. And the interesting thing is, what is the caloric count of this Jersey Guernsey cow? What percent of the calories are from sugar? Because we know sugar is a problem. Answer, 25%. What about when you go to whole milk? Well, when you go to whole milk, the calories from sugar is not 25%, it's 35%. So we have a higher percent of calories from sugar. But wait, why don't we check out this healthy skim milk. Skim milk, because there's no fat, 52% of the calories are from sugar. So this skim milk is going to rot your teeth, give you arthritis, and give you gout. And I never understood why, when I took my gout patients off of skim milk, bam, no more gout attacks. And here it is, 52% of the calories in skim milk is from sugar. So the other piece of information is why would this high fat be so healing? And then I said to myself, well, wait a minute. What is the cell in the body that does all of the healing? Answer, lymphocytes. So your lymphocytes, your T cells, your B cells, your plasma cells, all these are healing cells. And by the way, what medicine does when they want you to believe they discovered something new is they rename it. So a plasma cell, a white blood cell, a lymphocyte, all the same. But medicine just keeps renaming them and renaming them and renaming them. So these are the cells in the immune system that literally go out there, find those parasites. If it's a small parasite, then one cell will eat up the parasite, and then that cell will go to the liver, and that cell will be dispersed of in the intestines and go into the toilet with the parasite inside. Let's say it's a bigger parasite, it's huge, or let's say it's a splinter. The white cells will literally surround the splinter and create a cocoon or container for it and transport that splinter to the skin surface and eject it. Or if it's another very large foreign body, let's say a worm, it will surround the worm with all these white blood cells and move that package through the blood, through the liver, through the bile, into the bile ducts, into the gallbladder, out of the gallbladder, into the small intestine, and all the way down into the toilet. So these cells in the immune system are very powerful, and they can work collectively to surround a bunch of toxins or a particular toxin, and they actually sacrifice themselves and take these toxins out of the body, and the cells go along with them. Now, the other thing these cells do is, let's say you have a cut, you get a cut. The same cells, these white blood cells that I'm talking about, also go to the cut, and they go to the area of the cut, and they drop dead right there, and they create that scab. So these cells are very powerful, and they do a lot of very meaningful things in your life, like in real time. They respond immediately to whatever's happening. Okay, so if something's going to be curing all this, like at the Mayo Clinic, they're curing everything. I mean, everything, whether it was trauma, cancer, medical condition, everything with this raw milk. So it's stood to reason to me that it must be this particular cell that is being acted upon and fixed. So that leads us to going to, well, what's this cell made of? Maybe, could it be that this particular milk was making more of this cell? Answer, seems like that's exactly what was happening. So if we look at the plasma cell, what's the plasma cell made of? 45% fat, 45% protein, and 10% sugar. And you look at the Jersey milk, it's by calorie count, it's 25% sugar, 21% protein. And where's our fat? 62% fat. So it's a better match for this healing cell than the whole milk you get in the store. In other words, because of the fat content, it's actually able to fix and replace 62% fat by calories, fix and replace more of these lymphocyte cells than the whole milk is. Now, another thing, so once you take a look at the fat, the breakdown is 62% saturated, 38% unsaturated. The cell membrane for this plasma cell is 50% saturated, 50% unsaturated in terms of fat. And that means that when this milk enters your body, that its fat is able to go in and be used more efficiently to replace your immune system fat. So then I said to myself, whoa, let's take a look at the wonder oils of today. Let's take a look at coconut oil. So we look at coconut oil and it's holy cow. So coconut oil has a high degree of saturated fat. So let's go find out where our coconut oil is. Coconut oil is 90% saturated fat and 9% unsaturated fat. So since to make one of these plasma cells, you need equal parts of saturated and unsaturated fat, your body can only use 9% unsaturated fat plus another 9% of the saturated fats, or 18% of the coconut oil can be used to fix the immune system at any one point in time. Very interesting. So this is, we haven't even accounted for the fact that the saturated fats in coconut oil are not animal saturated fats. Let's just say your body can make the conversion. So here's the deal. These saturated fats are stiff and rigid, and the unsaturated fats are kind of fluid and relaxed. So in order for your body, in order for this immune cell to get the job done, it has got to be rigid enough so when it grabs a parasite, it's got a hold of it and that parasite can't get away. In other words, it's got to literally surround the parasite and become a hermetic sealed chamber for that parasite. So it needs, that's what it needs a saturated fat for. But it needs unsaturated fat so it can have the plasticity and flexibility to surround the parasite in order to remove it. So this is why the plasma cell is 50-50 saturated and unsaturated fat. All right. So the coconut oil, at best, you're going to have 9%, 18% of that oil is available to fix these very important cells. But we look at the Jersey cow, and he's got 76% of his fat is available to go in there and immediately eject any bad cell membranes and replace them with clean, good fat. Now, obviously, this cow's got to be hormone-free, and hopefully, you know, it didn't eat crap. Oh, wait a minute. We're having a technical difficulty here. Okay, we're good. Okay, so in other words, the fat that you receive from the Jersey cow is 76% efficient in healing, repairing the immune system, the major building block of the immune system. Coconut oil, as you can see, is only 18% efficient. Big difference. Let's go in between here. Let's take a look at our favorite milk on the counter here. So calories from fat. No, this can't be right. Okay, whole milk. Okay, so we have 3% is fat. Really, whole milk's only 3% of the calories from fat? That's terrible. Oh, I see. Okay, 30. So 30, 149. So it's really 20% of calories from fat. So whole milk is 40% efficient. So whole milk is 40% efficient. The milk from a Jersey cow is 76% efficient. And the fat from our favorite vegetable oils here is 18% efficient. So you can see the relative healing power is vastly different. So this is why the milk from a Jersey cow is so powerful in its healing. And the key lies in the high percentage of milk fat and the ratio of saturated and unsaturated fat. So let's go fast forward to how do you fast on Jersey milk? If we are to believe the Mayo Clinic records, the fast is very simple. It's 1 gallon of whole raw milk every day. The milk should be as fresh as possible. In other words, ideally, the cow was milked within 24 hours. And so when I did my fast, I was able to get the cow milked that morning at 7 o'clock, and I got the milk that afternoon at about 3 o'clock. Yay. Now, I'll have to be honest with you, it did take about a week to track down a farmer who had a cow that could give 3 gallons of milk. Now, according to the Mayo Clinic records, these fasts were easily 30 days long, not a problem, and really cured everything. So I'm in pretty good shape, but I am, 63 years old. And so I'm thinking, well, I could lose a little more energy, could use a little more, could use a little more energy. No, I use a little more energy. And I was getting a little lazy about my exercises. So I was thinking, okay, let me do this fast and see what happens. Well, first of all, I was not able at any point to drink a gallon of this milk in a day. Now, I did not have my milk analyzed. And on reflection, it probably had a lot more than 5% of milk fat. But I also have to warn you, or just another caveat, is I'm lactose intolerant, if you want to call it that. Or more precisely, my body does not like milk. So it has a bad reaction to milk. I bloat. I get abdominal pain. And I personally stopped drinking milk when I was 10 years old because I just didn't like it. So I'll just tell you day by day what happened. So, oh, my skin was getting stiff. Yes, I take my skin very seriously. My skin starts getting not so great. I'm like, gotta change something. So I figured, okay, let's try this milk and see if it does anything for the skin. So I started drinking the milk and I felt very full. And I was not hungry at all, which is nice. But I was bloated, burping, passing gas. My throat tightened up. I managed to get through it, drank some water, massaged my belly. Then I went to bed and I noticed I was wheezing a bit. And I said, oh, this is not good at all. But the next day I woke up, I was still alive, and I figured, I'm gonna give it a second day. And so the second day, I was able to get down almost 3 quarts of milk. But then I started feeling a slight feverish feeling, a little fever. And then that I got rid of by drinking water. But I did notice I was having more gas pain, more nausea, no appetite. And then I also have this little measure of parasites where if at night, I will close my eyes. And usually if it's a day I haven't taken my turpentine, I'll actually see little bugs crawling around. Take my turpentine and they're all gone. But that night I noticed bugs creeping around. However, my energy was up, my joint flexibility was up. I was able to, sweep and mop the whole house and do my exercises. But my comfort was off and on. Now, one thing I discovered after all of this bloating and rumbling and burping and passing gas was that medicine had successfully racialized medicine. So if a Black person has these symptoms, it's lactose intolerance. And if a white person has these symptoms, it's irritable bowel. So I realized that what I was having, the symptoms were just the same symptoms of irritable bowel. And of course, I had like 6 or 7 bowel movements that day. Next thing that happened is my teeth had been occasionally paining, a little pain, nothing really to think of, but just a little bit of pain. And then I had my hips. I'm constantly working on this one hip that got injured a few years ago. Actually, the other one got injured when I fell off the mountain while climbing a mountain in the Philippines. And so these hips I've been working on. I mean, I walk fine, but it's just every now and then they're a little achy. Well, the hip pain was 90% better, and the tooth pain absolutely gone. It's like I got a whole new set of teeth and roots. Really amazing. On the 3rd day, my lungs and sinuses all cleared up, just clear as a bell. Absolutely amazing. Very interesting. And so I decided, well, I'll try another day. So now we're on day 4. I was only able to get down 2 quarts of milk. Again, bloating, gas, 4 stools, no pain or cough. And the sinuses were clear. Did have a little sweaty feeling that went away with water. Excellent energy. And slept well. Joints and teeth were excellent. And it went really well. 5th day, that night I went to bed and I couldn't get to bed, and I did get some tummy pain. Got up, ate some watermelon, pain was gone, and went to sleep. So then on day 5, felt great. No hunger, no water, lots of bathroom trips. But this time, when I passed urine, I noticed that as the urine left, there's no burn as it left, but as it went over my skin, there was a burning. So what that told me was that I was starting to detox in my kidney area and dumping chemicals that were caustic. So in other words, the skin that the chemicals went over was irritated. No irritation of the bladder or the urethra or anything like that. So I was overall pretty happy with it. And I'd like to say, as far as ranking a milk fast, juice fast, and water fast, the most comfortable is the water fast. However, with the water fast, you're hungry and starving all the time and you're weak. And weak and dizzy and those problems. With the juice fast, you have the same problems with the water fast, but now you have to juice your juices. So it's very demanding. Whereas the milk fast takes the best of both in that you don't have to juice anything. It's the beverage you have, you just drink it and you're done. And so you have a lot of free time because you're not juicing stuff, you're not washing, chopping, and juicing and cleaning a juicer. And so I had time to do deep cleaning in the house, to get around to doing a lot of stuff I just really hadn't done. The advantage of the milk fast also is it increases your energy. I mean, throughout the fast and after. It gives you a sense of being satisfied. You don't have the hunger or cravings. Those are all gone. So I had no craving for foods like bread, sugar, and also emotionally, it's a very interesting process. I actually felt more peaceful, more forgiving and accepting of other people, and just not worried about anything in the world that might not be the way I would make it if anyone had asked me. Now, the negatives in the water fast are the heat, the abdominal pain and discomfort, the phlegm, and parasites. That's the negative. But I would say the milk fast is an excellent, in terms of cleansing, well, actually more rejuvenation, but I would say in terms of where it fits is once a person's, say, been vegan for 3 weeks or so as a part of their cleansing, and they've achieved their 3 balanced a day, they've done their turpentine, then if there's still anything left to deal with, a milk fast, it will be just wonderful. And what the milk fast does, I think, is it replaces a lot of nutrition, and it restores and replaces damaged cell membranes. And in medicine, the cell membrane is considered to be the essential organ of the cell. So if the cell membrane is not intact, then the cell can't receive the materials it needs to get its job done, and it can't output its work products. So let's just take a liver cell, for example. It is the membrane of the liver cell that absorbs the toxins from the blood, and the same membrane that releases those toxins into the bile. And that's pretty much your whole, there's a few other functions of liver cell, but that's one major function. So every cell in the body, it has to receive the material it works on, get the work done, and then put that material back out. So all of that is the process of the cell membrane. And so what the Jersey milk fast does is it repairs these cell membranes throughout the body, and it's a major rejuvenation. So I would say, for example, if you have someone that has a serious condition, sure, detox them by making them organic. You have 3 poops a day, and put them on as close to a vegan, unprocessed food diet with some strategically added liver, maybe, and see how far they go with that. And then maybe some basic supplements in the basic supplement list. And do that for, I would say, 3 or 4 weeks, and then do a 1-week milk fast. And what that will do is restore their nutritional status. It's just like a baby getting milk from its mother. Of course, the next evolution will be to use human milk. That's a whole other discussion. But let's just say that the raw cow milk works very, very well. The whole milk in the store is not a substitute because it doesn't have the same nutritional profile as the milk from the Jersey cow. So it's just, it just can't do the job. There's nowhere near. And the popular vegetable oils, whether it's coconut oil or grapeseed oil or avocado oil, is not going to work because it doesn't have the proper ratio of saturated fats and unsaturated fats, again, to get the job done. So very, very interesting. And I would definitely recommend milk fast. Personally, I plan to do one again, maybe in a month, and say, well, Dr. Daniels, why are you waiting a month? Why not just do it again next week? The road to the farm, the one farm that has a Jersey cow, has been destroyed by heavy rains. They probably won't be able to repair it, truthfully, for months, but We'll see if we can find, I think in a month I could find a way around it to get more milk. All right, so does anyone have any questions about milk fast? All right, we'll wait for questions on that. And while we do, we'll go to the questions that were mailed in. Here we are. Okay, somebody asked me about the benefits of unpasteurized versus pasteurized milk and juice, and I don't really know too much about it. Can you share your thoughts on that? Yes. Whenever you pasteurize anything, you destroy the nutritional value. And so that's the juice story. So pasteurized juice is always a lesser product. But then you get down to, well, juice at all, is that a good thing? Sometimes. So juice is the separation of the juice of the fruit from its fiber. And so you're losing a lot of fiber. For example, with pomegranates, which are in season now, I eat the seed with the juice and the whole seed, and I swallow the whole thing. So the creating the juice itself is a type of processing or refinement. And then on top of that, to boil it or pasteurize it diminishes the nutrition. Now, if you go into health food stores today, you'll see a term called lightly pasteurized. So I guess it means they have less heat for less period of time. Now, so I don't drink bottled juices, or I should say I don't drink them much. I might drink a bottled juice, oh, I don't know, maybe once a month or once every 2 months, but really not much at all. So let's talk about unpasteurized milk. Milk is a whole different story. So milk has a lot of biologically active material, or we'll just call it parasites, like bacteria and viruses and fungus. So it's a lot of stuff in the cow's milk. So when you pasteurize the cow's milk, what you do is you raise these organisms to such a temperature that they are inactivated. And then you immediately and quickly bring the temperature down. So now what you're doing is you're slowing the growth of these organisms so that you can transport the milk over longer distances. And so the milk is actually old. The nutrients in it are deteriorating over time through oxidation or exposure to air. But because the biological organisms have been suppressed, the fact that the milk is losing its nutritional value is not apparent because the bacteria aren't growing and stinking and smelling. So in pasteurized milk, the milk is deceptively fresh. I get that would be one word for it. Now, the other thing that happens in pasteurized milk is that the bad guys, their growth is simply suppressed, and once you eat it, they start growing again. So the benefit of pasteurized milk is that it's safer. You're going to have a lower bacterial count at the time that the person buying the milk receives it. So there's less of a chance of, I guess you can call it milk poisoning or food poisoning, or the person getting an infection from the milk. However, it's been my experience or my observation practicing medicine that people who drink pasteurized milk do have infections from the milk. They just have to drink a larger amount of the milk in order to get those infections. So the biggest difference between pasteurized and unpasteurized milk is it'll take you longer to get sick from pasteurized milk if you're drinking a lot of it. But what's the benefit of unpasteurized milk? That would be raw milk. Again, the benefit of raw milk is that the nutrition has not been destroyed. And because the milk is raw, you've got to drink it very quickly, like within, say, 3 or 4 days of the cow being milked. And so the amount of nutrients lost is very little. So the problem with pasteurized milk is, although it's a safer product, there's not as many living organisms, the nutritional value is much less because the milk is going to be older, travel a longer period of time, and so on. So that's the pasteurized milk story. The unpasteurized milk, you've got higher probability and chance of infection, but higher nutritional value. So it's not, you can't say, oh, this milk is better, or oh, that milk is better. You have to realize that both of them have their risks. So the pasteurized milk has long-term risks, and the unpasteurized milk has short-term risks. Hope that helps. Let's see. What prompted your discovery of milk fast? I was rotating my testicles and my liver and my this and my that. And so I found that I would wake up and say, oh, I'm missing something. I wonder which meat today I should eat. And so I was thinking to myself, is there some way that I can give myself a generalized infusion of healing and nutrition so that I don't feel like every day I'm maintaining something. Also, I was looking at just the different healing modalities. I'm always studying different ways of healing and, open to looking at things that worked in the past that healed a lot of people that maybe aren't being done today. And the reasons they're not being done today generally are political, unfortunately. So there's not any, it wasn't that someone dropped dead during a milk fast or anything like that, but just that for political reasons, it was more expedient and more profitable to move medicine in a different direction. What about the food safety concerns about drinking unpasteurized milk or juice? So let's not talk about the juice. Again, we're talking about milk today. Juice is a whole nother ball of wax. Well, actually, I can talk about juice, but let's talk, they're two separate discussions because juice isn't naturally filled with disease-causing organisms. Milk is. So food safety concerns about unpasteurized milk. So unpasteurized milk, the point is you've got to consume it very quickly. You don't buy unpasteurized milk on November 1st and eat it on November 25th. That's just not the way you handle unpasteurized milk. So the important thing is to plan to receive it and consume it within a few days of when it was removed from the cow. So if the cow was milked Monday morning at 9 a.m., you want to receive that milk maybe Monday afternoon and maybe have it drunk by Wednesday morning and kept under refrigeration. If you do that, then you have a pretty safe situation. But to milk a cow in California and expect someone to consume that milk in New York, and it's going to be shipped over a long distance, that's not okay. So once the milk leaves the cow, then you've got refrigeration issues and preservation issues. So you've got to pay attention to that as a consumer. You want to minimize that time. Okay, so that's the unpasteurized milk. So food safety concerns. So the food safety concerns is the government wants to create a situation where mega farms can milk a cow in 2,000 2020 and sell that milk in 2021 or 2022. And you can only do that with pasteurization. In other words, the milk can keep for a very long time. It can be stored. It can be bought. It can be sold. It can be, arbitrage. You can have commodities trading. You can have intermediaries. You can have middlemen. There's all kinds of industry that can be created around that little gallon of milk when it is pasteurized. When it's not pasteurized, all those economic gains are not safe. So when you have milk that's unpasteurized, it leaves the cow at 7 a.m. and hopefully finds its way to somebody's belly by 7 p.m. And this is why in the old days, they delivered milk to people's homes every morning. Why? Because the cows got milk at 4 or 5 a.m. and that milk got to the homes by 7, 8, maybe as late as 10 a.m. And mothers cooked with it, used it, and the milk was gone. And the next day, more milk was delivered. That was the pattern of milk consumption. With that pattern of milk consumption, there's no need for pasteurization or even refrigeration for that matter, because the milk is just all used that same day. Now, because the government is trying to encourage a different type of lifestyle, which is hoarding and, shopping once a week instead of every day, then that's where pasteurization comes in. Okay, so this person says, it helps. Okay, raw milk fasting helps with the plasma lymphocytes, yes, and the healing in the short term. No, Heidi. Okay, yeah, totally confused. So the question is, when do you consume the milk? So when do you consume the milk? What's wrong with the milk? And what's it going to give you problems with? So raw milk has lots of live organisms. If you're going to have a problem with the raw milk you ate, you're going to have a problem, like set your watch in hours, you will know you got troubles. So the problems with the raw milk are in the short term, immediately after consumption. The problems with pasteurized milk occur in the long run. And the long-term problems with the pasteurized milk is the low nutritional value of the milk is a problem. And the complications that it causes with health are a problem. With the raw milk, because it is filled with the enzymes and all the bioactive compounds and stuff, it goes right through you. It's not going to hang around. You're not going to have a lot of big leak problems with it. So that's number one. But more precisely, the organisms are there and they are alive. And so the way people dealt with that was they ate it responsibly. They ate that milk within 24 hours of when it came out of that cow, and they did just fine, not a problem. So what I'm trying to say is when the milk is pasteurized, you don't have that hazard because you've knocked down the number of active organisms. And you're still going to have complications from milk consumption, but they're going to be longer term from the malnutrition because the milk had such a low nutritional value. And also the longer term complications are going to be from maybe the hormone situation where the milk causes, actually not even the hormone situation, but from the milk causing asthma, causing allergies, and those types of things. Now, when you do a milk fast, you don't get that problem, the allergies and stuff, because you're not putting in other foods and you're not overloading the liver. So during one of my milk fast days, I actually ate another food, which was a little bit complicated. It was a heavy meat, organ meat. And I started sneezing in less than a minute. I said, oh, that's really interesting. And I knew I wasn't allergic to the meats. So what had happened was my liver was occupied with handling and metabolizing the milk. And then when I added in the little piece of meat, I started sneezing because the liver was like, whoa, we're overloaded here. We can't handle any more stuff. And so that just gives a little more support to the understanding that our whole theory of allergies is simply wrong. All allergies are is a person with an overloaded liver is reacting to new compounds being ingested at a time when liver is not ready to cope with it. And so we can see this because when people start cleansing and cleaning out the liver, unloading the liver, their allergies just go away. They don't have the sneezing and other problems. So there's also, with raw milk, there's two things. One, just drinking raw milk. I'm not a fan of that. Another thing is raw milk fast. What's the difference? With the raw milk fast, you're eating just the raw milk. You're not overloading the liver or other organs. Those organs can focus on renovation and healing, and you can benefit and use the raw milk. Let's say you're just using raw milk as just part of your, I eat this, I eat that, I'm just gonna add raw milk to what I eat. Then what happens is your body is not in a healing mode. Your body is in a metabolism digestion mode, and it's looking at the milk as a food source, not as a healing source. And so it literally behaves differently with the milk. So if you're gonna, so outside of the milk fast, would I recommend drinking raw milk? No. But would I recommend drinking pasteurized milk? No. So if you're gonna, so I think that raw milk is useful for this healing fasting situation, but eating it at other times is just part of your regular diet is probably not a good idea. Thank you so much. What is the history you discovered about milk? You can just Google raw milk fasting Mayo Clinic. Boom, it all comes up. I've never heard of it until today. There you go, censorship, right? Are there cultures that do this currently? Places of healing with Jersey milk? Probably not. Now, again, in the United States, this is why I tell people in the United States, it is really, just do yourself a favor, travel. Spend a month someplace else in the world. It doesn't matter, any place else. So what do you find out when you travel to other parts of the world? In most places, people don't eat every day. No, they don't eat every day. So in other words, what we might call a raw milk fast, they're like, oh yeah, we don't eat on Tuesdays, and so we drink our raw milk on Mondays. So because in America we eat every day, and some people even several times a day, we actually have to set aside time to not eat. We have to actually make a mental effort. We have to give it thought. But in other parts of the world, you know, sometimes food's available, sometimes it's not, and when it's not available, well, you just don't eat. And you know, we have our propaganda network telling us, oh my God, we have hunger around the world, we have to intervene to stop the hunger. And when you meet these hungry people, and I have met these hungry people, they don't know what they wonder what the fuss is about. You know, they're not starving to death. Yeah, they do have about 6 days out the month, maybe 10 days out the month with no food, and it works out just fine, just fine. It's like when I was in medical school, I was living in the United States, but I ate every other day. Literally 15 days of the month, I had no food. We could call it fasting, whatever you want to call it. So in other parts of the world, they don't really have fasting the way we do in the United States, where you make a conscious decision that we are not going to eat today because we think it's healthy. No, they just happen to run out of food from time to time, and they don't eat, and it just works out. And it turns out that they're extremely healthy, that you know, it takes place. So are there centers that help people fast with Jersey milk? I don't know, but it seems to me there ought to be some place in the United States that does it. But what other cultures do is they're very seasonal. Their food supply is very seasonal. The other thing you notice coming from the United States and looking at other cultures is you're like, oh my gosh, people really do live off the land. And when some developer buys 100 acres of land to develop into luxury condos, that land, there's actually people living on that land, and he's destroying their food supply, interrupting their water supply, and interrupting a trail they were walking through to get from here to there. And so you'll see in Panama that there will be these wonderful these developments, and some they're not so high end, so say medium end, and they literally preserve these walking trails. And so you'll see where someone's yard will have literally steps going up and down and over their fence where someone can walk right through a trail. Very, very interesting. And so what they've done is they've realized that there are indigenous people here who are living in the forest, who walk from one place to another, and that this particular development has interrupted that. So other cultures in their natural course of living have several days a month they just don't have food. Food is just not available. And in many places, people simply buy food day by day and not every day. So in the United States, this concept of going to the grocery store and shopping once a week or even twice a week is not the norm. That's not a normal way of living. I don't say normal, natural. It's not a natural way of living. So a natural way of living, of course, because the food is picked every day, and people go to the market and get what they need to cook for that day, and that's pretty much it. There's not a big need for refrigeration. We in the United States, we have this thing called a pantry, or we have cabinets. In other parts of the world, they don't have that. And they look at that and say, what do you have? You have a grocery store in your house? And so we call it a pantry, but other people call it a tienda. So they say, oh, you have a tienda in your house. You have a store in your house. And again, we don't look at it that way because we just so used to seeing it, we just accept it. We don't realize, oh, I have a mini store in my house. So it's culturally not a concept here where you fast, because everyone fasts sometimes, because some days you just don't eat. Yeah. Now there are many people, so the whole Western lifestyle is starting to move in and take over more and more people. But the people who are still living a natural lifestyle, they just have days they just don't eat, and that's okay. I hope that answers the question. Safety. All right, great. I think that's everything. I don't see any questions here. If people have questions that I have not answered, then enter them now. Otherwise, we'll be pretty much done. Oh, next week. Oh, next session. I'm so excited. So next week, we're going to talk about haggis, Haggis, and we're also going to talk about making your own tallow. That's what I did. I just want to give a little update here. My vanilla, yay! This is Tahitian grade B vanilla bean. Wow. And you're supposed to let this soak. And I use bourbon whiskey, which is the best. Not the best whiskey, any whiskey will do, but it's better than vodka for your vanilla bean. Okay. This has only been setting since October 25th, which is less than a month. And it already tastes much, much better than any vanilla I have ever purchased. And I have definitely purchased some whole natural vanilla some pure vanilla extract. And I did not realize you can make your own vanilla extract so easily, and it tastes so great. So I haven't used it yet, but just the smell of it is wonderful. So I want to encourage you to make your own vanilla. Milk fast. Is there a problem with the hormones in the milk? No, there's not a problem with the hormones that are naturally occurring in the milk. You want a cow that that's not being injected with hormones. But the hormones naturally occurring in the milk are not a problem. Again, you're talking about a brief period of time eating this milk. We're not talking about day in, day out. I am not a fan of day in, day out, everyday milk. Process you recommend before and after coming off the milk fast. That's the great thing about the milk fast is there's no need to worry about coming off the fast as with a water fast where your body has shut down so many different things during the course of the fast. So what's happened with the milk fast is your body is actually revved up a lot of organs and everything is working at a much better, higher level. And so what I would do, what I did after the milk fast is I just didn't do anything in particular. The first day after, I just didn't bother I didn't go back to my regular supplements, and I'm still not taking any supplements. So I'm going to start the supplements when I feel like I need them, when I feel like I'm getting tired again. So very, very interesting that a lot of supplements, I take the vitamin A, E, D, selenium, B complex, FC, alpha lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, even the Shilajit, turpentine, and vitality capsules. That's everything I take pretty much. I haven't taken anything. And so it's been a day after the fast and I haven't taken anything. I have eaten some food, but I haven't taken any supplements. So I'm going to see how far I can go without taking supplements and I will report back. But this is amazing because in my regular life before the milk fast, if I skipped my supplements for even a day, I felt it. I had an afternoon nap. So I haven't taken any supplements for the 5 day of the milk fast or now 2 days after. So we'll see how long it lasts. So I've only done one milk fast 5 days, so I can definitely recommend shooting for 5 days. I can tell you honestly, around day 3, I was ready to throw in the towel. But because I increased my water intake and ate some fresh fruit, I was able to get, kind of not get through it, but just relieve the symptoms totally. So I'm going to do the fast again, like I said, maybe in a month. Like I said, the road to the farm has been destroyed. So I'm thinking I can talk somebody into working around that and maybe get some more in a month from now and try the fast again. But obviously, if I can do a milk fast for 5 days or more, once a month or once every 3 or 4 months, and then not need any supplements, well, let's see how that goes. That's an interesting, concept. So we'll have to stay tuned for that. You have to do as much water as you think you need. So I would say a rule of thumb, if you need rules, is however much milk you drink that much water. And if you do that, I think you'll be extremely comfortable. For me, I did not make it a point to do that. So I started drinking water when I got uncomfortable. But in retrospect, had I just matched the amount of water and the amount of milk, I would have been just fine. Now, the other problem with the milk is you lose momentum. So you have to kind of hit that milk bottle as soon as you get out of bed to start drinking the milk. And even with that, there was one day I could only get to a quart and a half. So the problem with the milk fast is you have so much energy, you're doing this, you're doing that, it's easy to forget to drink the milk. So you have to just put that before you and start your day with it. And generally by 2 in the afternoon, there's just no way I'm really going to get any more milk in because I'm just too busy just doing stuff because you just have so much energy. And then you're just doing one thing after another. Enemas. I'm a big fan of enemas, so I did not stop my enemas for this fast. I kept the enemas going. Also, again, I had the abdominal sensitivity, I had bloating, I had gurgling, I had passing gas, I had burping. So for me, doing an enema was a welcome relief, a comfort. Yeah, so I'm going to do it a few more times and then I can settle out like how I would recommend it and work towards writing up a protocol for it. But right now, I think the pluses are they're really there. When you can do a 5-day fast and have full energy and not need any supplements, that's, where can I say that's news. And then for the joints to feel stronger and to have so much energy, that's huge. And so I'll be doing it a couple more times, really just to sort out how much, how often, and also what inconveniences to expect and how to treat them. Oh, so thank you for continuing and writing a protocol. Awesome. Yeah, so it'll be a few more months before I can write a protocol because I'll have to be able to get more milk and do more fasting. Water enemas, coffee enemas, how many? It's just that you have to keep your bowels moving. And so if you're doing enemas before you start the milk fast, continue them. If you're not doing them, then just make sure you continue to get 3 bowel movements a day or more. And if you don't, then do enemas. And you can do water enemas or coffee enemas, whatever you prefer. Yes, I refrigerate the milk. If you don't refrigerate the milk, it'll go sour. This is not, pasteurized milk. Okay, it's gonna go sour. And I got a 5-gallon supply. No, I was only able to get a 3.5 gallon supply, but because I could only drink 2 quarts a day, it lasted me 5 days. All right, okay, that's it. All the news that is news. Okay, we will see you next time, and next time we'll do haggis. Haggis is such an amazing dish that the British actually have a holiday centered around this dish and its powers. Okay, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks. Let's see if I can figure this out.